Hey everybody, this is Christina from Brush and Bristle Studio. Hope you guys are having a great day today so far. Today I'm going to go over how to use this Kids Sippy Tumbler multi mockup. To start, you're going to want to open it in either Photoshop or in Photopea. I'm going to split up this tutorial into two parts. The first part is going to go over Photoshop and the second part is going to go over Photopea. Now if you're going to use Photopea, make sure you watch the Photoshop portion because I'm only going to go over the little change that is in Photopea because the two programs are so similar, but there's just a slight change with how you handle the smart objects in Photopea, and that's all I'm going to go over in that portion. So to get started, let's get this open in Photoshop, and as you see, you've got three mockups in here: mockup 1, mockup 2, and mockup 3. We're going to start with this first one real fast, and you want to look for these red tabbed layers. These are your smart object layers. And another way to tell that they're smart objects is it has this little, like it looks like paper and a rectangle over it in the corner. So I have all of my mockups set up as smart object mockups, and they're set up with one-click change feature. And what that means is that when we go in and change one of these, it's going to apply that change to all three tumblers at once, and not even just these three on this one mockup. It's going to go ahead and add it to mockup 2 and mockup 3, so it will help speed up your process. So to get started, let's double click on this thumbnail right here, and it's going to open up our smart object document. So let's go ahead and open up a design that we want to get mocked up. And you're going to want to copy this and paste this into that document. And to do that, first you want to select all by pressing Control A, or get this marquee tool right here, and you can drag and drop. And you can make sure that it's all selected by seeing this little marching ant line all around the border of your design. Once you see that, you can press Control C or go up here to Edit and press Copy. Now that that's done, you can go ahead and close this tab, and you should be back at your Smart Object tab. Now you can press Control V, or you can go up here to Edit and Paste. And as you can probably tell, this design does not fit the canvas, so we need to resize this. And to do that, you can press Control T or go up here to Edit and then Free Transform. And now you'll see these little anchor points all over your design. So I'm going to go ahead and move this up to this top corner right here. And just a little word of advice, to make your life easier with resizing things, you might want to have your snap feature turned on. And to make sure you've got that turned on, you can go up here to View, and right here you'll see Snap. So you just want to make sure that has a check beside it, and that'll mean that your snap is turned on. So now that that's on, we want to get this resized. And if you look up here, you'll see some information about your design. Your width and your height are right up here, and you can enter in your dimensions here. You can rotate it right here with a certain angle. You can do certain things up there. I'm not going to get too bogged down in that right now, but one thing I do want to go over is this link button. Now, with this link button on, that means that your width and your height are going to change proportionally if you make any changes. So let's grab one of these anchor points, and you see you drag it, and all sides are changing right now. So to prevent that, you can turn that link off, and that will let you do just one side at a time. But I'm going to teach y'all a trick because I like saving time. So I leave that checked, and then I'll just hold Shift and grab this anchor point, and it acts like it's not linked anymore. it is so much quicker than having to go press a button. So once you're happy with the resize, you can press enter, or you can press this check mark up here. And now you want to save this to update the smart object. So you can press Control S, or you can go to File and then Save. And saving. So let's go back to our main document, and I'll show you. It is updated on all 3 mockups for you. So as you see, that's pretty quick and easy peasy. Now I'm going to go over a couple other little changes that you can do. First, I want to point out the tops and bottoms. You can change the colors of those by going to Lids Bottoms and then Colors, and you'll see this orange tabbed layer with this little color palette right here. So let's toggle the visibility on, and as you see, it went ahead and changed the colors. Now you double click this color palette, and it's going to open up this hue saturation panel right here. So one thing I'll point out really fast is if you turn on the visibility and for some reason the colors don't change, check right here, this colorize box. Sometimes this will get unchecked, and that will prevent the colors from showing. So just check that and it'll put them right back. I know that took me forever when I first started using Photoshop to realize that was what was not making that work on some things that I had. So just a little friendly tip. But once that's checked and you want to start changing the colors, these are 3 sliders that you're going to work with to get the color that you need. So you can just drag and drop wherever you want. And let's say we want it to match that pink color in the heart. So I drag it to the pink area, and now we want to make it brighter. And let's see, we want it lighter. That's pretty close, I think. So as you see, you can do this with any color that you want. You can make it look like the tops of the tumblers that you've got in stock, or you can make it match the design, whatever you want. And now we're going to turn that visibility off, and I'm going to go over some of the other changes really fast. See, we've got Tumbler highlights and shadows. And I've got these set up where your left, your middle, and your right, all those shadows are done separately by Tumbler, in case you wanted to try and mess with them. But to make any changes to the intensity of the shadows and the highlights, you've got your 3 layers right here. And if you pay attention up here into this top box, you've got your blending modes right here, as it says linear burn, and these are all your other blending modes. But I do not recommend messing with any of the blending modes in this. Depending on the blending mode, you can actually change like the color of the design, and it'll lose the effect that you were trying to go for, like with shading. So avoid messing with that. But if you look over here at opacity and fill, those are some things that you can mess with. And this will definitely help with the intensity of those effects. So let's pay attention to this left tumbler. Let's say we want it to be super light. So let's take it down to 25%. And you see it's much lighter than the others. And we could take it up to 100. And that's definitely increased. But we could take it back to 75, which is where it was. Now, another thing that you can do to help increase the intensity and stuff of the shadows and the highlights, I've got this group up here, extra highlights and shadows. It's made with some adjustment layers to help make things pop a little bit more. So you can just toggle that on. And as you see, it's applied to everything. And I mean literally everything in the mockup. So it'll affect mockup 1, 2, and 3 backgrounds, everything. So if you want to make any changes to it, you're welcome to, but just be cautious because it does affect everything. But to make those changes, you just hover over the adjustment layer icon and double click it, and it'll pop up the panel. And then it's just sliders like it was that color panel. You just drag and drop. And as I said, it changes literally everything. So just be mindful when you mess with that, but you're welcome to make those changes if you'd like them. Another thing I've got is shadows. I've got like back shadows behind the tumblers, and then I've got shadows underneath the tumblers. So you can mess with those just like the other shadows I was showing you. You come up here and you mess with the opacity and the fill. Again, don't mess with the blending mode, but you're welcome to mess with the opacity and fill. And then I've got different backgrounds. You've got 8 different backgrounds to choose from. I tried to give a nice variety to go with any kind of Tumbler design you're working on. And I also put a color change feature on the background so you can mess with that as much as you'd like. We're going to turn that back off. Now I'll go over Mockup 2, and it's really the same thing. You've still got the color change feature on the lids and bottoms. You've got the same changes that you can make with the shadows and highlights. The backgrounds are just a little bit different because it's a flat lay. But you've got the color change is set up for all of these backgrounds. And I will point out, you can leave it, it's probably easier to show it to you on the marble. If you have that hue saturation selected, like you're literally clicking on that, you can go up to the blending modes. And remember I said don't touch this during the mockups, but this is one exception. So if you go up here and go to color, you see it changed that to where the color is like really going where it's darkest, if that makes sense. So I'm going to undo this real quick so you can see, but pay attention to the veins of the marble. And you see the purple now is more on the, like, I guess the white of the marble, not just in the veins. So that's one thing that I like messing with sometimes to try and like focus the color a little bit more. But if you don't want to do that, you can keep it on normal, which is what it's normally set on. So, actually, let me turn that off. And then you've got your third mockup right here. And this has the same background options as Mockup 2, so I'm not going to go over that again. But I will give a recommendation. This does have overlay shadows that you can mess with, and it's just like up above. You can mess with the opacity and the fill on those. If you are going to use this, I highly recommend that you put some kind of watermark or your logo on this to help keep your designs from being stolen, because there are a lot of people that will go in and steal designs, and that's just loss for you. So I like showing all the design to some people, like to some customers, but I also don't want to make it easy for people to steal, so I make sure to put watermarks on everything. So that's really all for this mock-up. I will go over one other thing really fast, and we are going to get rid of this really quick. Now, in your folder, when you went to go download these files, you should have seen another folder called Action. Now, if you go into that and you double click the action, it will automatically install the action into Photoshop. To use that action, you're going to want to find your action panel, and that panel is going to be on this right side of your screen. It's normally this little play button, but if you don't see it, then you can go up to Window, and then Actions is right there, or you can hit Alt F9, and it'll open it up. Now, when you first install an action, it is going to put it to the very bottom of your Actions panel, so you can always just scroll right to the very bottom and you'll find it. Now, you click on Load, and you press this little play button right here, and you see it already opened up the smart object. It's already gone to open to allow you to put your file in there. Now it's copied and pasted it and set to free transform. And now it pauses right here so you can decide, hey, is this sized how I want it to be sized? If you're happy with that, then you press this check mark up here. Press Control S to save. And now go over here. Sometimes the actions can be a little bit finicky, so if you have any problems with your action, just let me know. So that was all for load. Oops. I'm having the darndest time trying to click on things right now. So click on Save Now and hit Play. And it's automatically set up to be Mockup 1. I recommend putting the name of the design at the very front and then doing Mockup 1. But for this example, I'm just going to do it as Mockup 1 and Mockup 2 and Mockup 3. But see, it's automatically going between the different mockups. So you've already got 1, 2, and 3, and you didn't have to go in and do those steps yourself. So the action will help save a lot more time. So it should take maybe 1 to 2 minutes to do anything for your mockups. I do have these two split up, the load and the save, so that way when you load the design, then you can go in and be like, oh, well, I want to change the color of the lids, or I want to change the background, or oh, I don't think the shadows are dark enough on this. It just gives you time to make those changes to things before you start saving anything. But that's really all there is to this mockup in Photoshop. If you guys have any questions or any problems or anything, please feel free to reach out to me and let me know. I'm always happy to help. Now, if you're going to use this in Photopea, I will see you soon. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm going to go over how to use this in Photopea now. Now, if you don't know what Photopea is, it is very similar to Photoshop, but it is a web-based software, so you can access it on any device that has a web browser, and you get to it by going to photopea.com. It is 100% free, and you do not even need to have an account to use it, so it's super, super convenient. So, once you're here, go to Open from Computer and navigate to your file. So, this, and now we've got this here, and you want to find your smart object layer again, and we're going to double click on that smart object layer. And the thing that is different with this, you can always go to File Open, but we want to go to File Open in Place. And now we can put our design in there. And if you noticed, that cut out several steps for us. So you don't have to do copy and paste or free transform in here. It does all those steps for you. So just go ahead and place it where you want. And then we're going to drag it down. Now remember, in Photoshop, I told you to hold down Shift when you do your resizing to keep things from linking, so your sides won't link. They won't proportionally change, if I can talk. Once you have that sized right, you can press Enter or press this check mark, and then you go up here to File and press Save Smart Object, or you can press Control S. and that's going to update your smart object. If we go back here, you see it's gone ahead and put it on all 3 mockups. Everything else about this is exactly the same as Photoshop. You can edit the shadows, you go into the color palettes the same way, all the other adjustment layers the same way. One downside with using Photopea is you can't use the actions. I have tried figuring out how to get the actions to work in here, and I just can't figure it out. So if you happen to know of a way to do the actions properly, please feel free to let me know. But until then, you'll have to do the actions through Photoshop. But as you saw, it really isn't, it doesn't take that much time to do these without the actions. But if you guys have any questions, or if y'all need anything else, please feel free to reach out to me. I hope this tutorial was helpful and that you enjoy your mock-ups. Have a great day.